Now, we asked the question, why do we celebrate Women's Day? International Women's Day is celebrated every year on March the 8th to commemorate the cultural, political, and socio-economic achievements of women. The aim of the day is to spread the message of gender equality and promote a better society where there is no gender bias. The first National Women's Day was celebrated on February the 28th, 1909. The United Nations says it was designated by the Socialist Party of America to honor women in the garment industry who went to strike in New York to protest working conditions. And from over here, we urge women to enjoy the rest of the day. But we have someone in the studio to join us in this conversation. She is the CEO and publisher, La Mode magazine. Good to have you, Sandra Odige.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you join us.
Thank you for having me.
So I want to take this conversation because we've had several conversations with people all through the day. We've talked about economy. We've talked about just generally society. But we know that most of these challenges begin in the home. Mm-hmm. This bias actually starts in the home. It starts in the mind when you're young, where parents tell you, this is what ladies should do, and this is what the boys should do. And we see that even as we grow to become, from girls to become wives, that it also continues. You're meant to be the submissive wife, and the one who follows and not necessarily have a say. And I want to get your thoughts on this and how you think that this has actually panned out from childhood to now, even as wives.
Yeah, the need for us to keep re-emphasizing, to change the psychological mind of the people cannot be overemphasized. You're having a girl child or having a boy child. You're telling the child from the day of the childbirth, you're assigning different colors. The male should have the blue. The female should have the pink. That's where we need to start making the corrections, start re-emphasizing, start reorienting people. The mind of the people needs to be changed, that we are equals. We are human beings. Let's see ourselves first as human beings before any other thing. Our capacity, what we can achieve, what we can do as an individual, not just segregation or try to separate. So that separation, that dichotomy needs to be,
absolutely,
reached.
where a lady knows that, look, and pink is quite a soft color.
Oh, yes.
So it sort of shows you that, look, you have to be the one who cross your leg when you sit, wearing pink.
Anybody can be soft. The milk too
exactly,
can be soft.
We don't have a society that allows men to be soft. When a man in society says you're acting like a woman, when a man talks too much, instead of saying you're being lousy, society says you're talking like a woman. And it almost sounds as if, these attributes are for women. It's wrong, it's wrong. It doesn't mean that it's women who do it. How do you think that this sort of plays out for a young girl who, hearing most of these things in the home and then goes to school? How do you think this plays out in her psychology in terms of how she relates and how well she does?
Yes, it does, because you're limiting the child. Indirectly, because the child starts seeing herself or in a particular way that, okay, I need to do this particular course or this particular profession is for the male. I can't be a surgeon or I can't be an engineer or something with tech experts and all that. So we need to start changing the mind of our children, the people around us, our communities, groups, that everyone, we are all equals. When anybody approach you, come to you first, see the person first as a human being. Before any other thing, then the capacity, what the person can bring to the table, the success, the impact, not just gender, it starts too myopic, if you ask me.
All right, so we'll continue this conversation in just a moment, but we have this report from you from our newsroom. It does highlight the biases and then the achievements of women.
This week, people across the globe are marking the social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women on International Women's Day. Observed on 8 March every year, the day is dedicated to raising awareness of the importance of women's equality. While Women's Day traces its history to feminist movement in Europe and America in the early 1900s, the day became mainstream after it was adopted by the United Nations in 1977. In 1996, the United Nations announced, quote, celebrating the past, planning for the future as the theme for Women's Day. Since then, every year, a theme is given to mark the celebrations and gender rights advocacy work. For 2022, the UN-given theme is Gender Equality Today for a Sustainable Tomorrow, which aims to recognize women who are working to build a more sustainable future. However, the International Women's Day website diverted from the UN-given theme and announced "Break the Bias" as this year's concept. This explains the values of the theme as a world free of bias, stereotypes, and discrimination, a world that is diverse, equitable, and inclusive, a world where difference is valued and celebrated.
That was a report on the International Women's Day. You saw there the biases, and then, you know, the faces at the end really spoke to me, where beyond the biases, we've had women who were able to go beyond these biases to become some sort of legends, and I use that word with so much caution, legends in their fields. And these biases were there, but they broke the bias. And I just, you know, before you will speak to that, you know, just before we leave this conversation, for every young girl who is wondering, how do I break the mold? But let's talk about, again, back to the home and how this sort of plays out. So this is going to sound very controversial, but it's just something that I sort of think about once in a while, where for a man, you're a master as a child. And then you tend to become, you know, in your teens, you're no longer addressed as a master. You are now a mister. And then for the woman, you know, you are a miss all through childhood too, even as long as you're single. So it's only when you're married that it sort of switches. So it does look like, it is something to achieve. So you're looking to achieve, you know, the misses. It's like a certificate being given to you. Do you think that this also plays out in the psychology of women when it comes to, or perhaps this is one of the biases women face, where you cannot, without that misses sometimes, but look at you and they're wondering, what do you bring to the conversation?
Mrs. is just is a title. It doesn't mean you are less. It doesn't mean, you know, it's a position that women tend to attain, and not everybody wants to attain that. It's a choice. So for me, I don't think, you know, anybody should look down on anyone because, you know, she has not attained that Mrs. status. It's a title, and that title cannot define who you are. So the need for you to keep projecting your capability, your worth, and what you can achieve and bring to the table, as I said previously, cannot be overemphasized.
Absolutely. And how do women break this bias and begin to develop competence? Because like you said, most people do not want to hear a woman who is bold and assertive, because they believe, look, you should really be a woman, be toned down. But everyone wants to hire a woman who is competent, bold, and assertive. So how do women break that bias? You run an organization, a media organization, and how would you advise, for example, if you have a female staff to break the bias and rise to the top of a field? Yeah,
definitely. For my organization, what I do, I'm an inclusive advocates. I have a foundation for persons with disability. I also have a profit and non-profit organization project. So for me, I love to include people in all I do. Persons with disability, my staff force, the graphic designers, the content creators and all that, they're all encompassing. We have persons living with disabilities, we have normal people, we have everyone in it. So for me, for my own organization, we are already breaking the bias. We are already making the difference. We're already making impact in a various way. And me as a leader, I'm also, you know, transferring that, you know, mindset to my people, and them too, wherever they are, wherever they find themselves, they also pass that, you know, psychology that me as a boss have been able to build over the years. So there's need for us to take it home and achieve that as persons.
Where do you think that this narrative of and I'm trying to be careful not to use the word crazy, but it's the only thing that that's coming, or the difficult female boss comes from? Because, you know, we hardly say that about male bosses, but when a woman is the boss, you know, say, women are too difficult to work under. You know, women are difficult. I don't want to have a female boss. You know, I want to have a male boss. And sometimes you also hear that from women. You know, and where do you think that narrative comes from?
For me, it's a preference based on a personal relationship with that particular individual. So you can't use that to generalize that all women or females are difficult bosses and all that. So for me, it depends on your interpersonal relationship with that particular person at that time, your boss. So for me, it's not a general, it shouldn't be used as a general theme. Some women are difficult, some men are difficult.
Absolutely.
So it's...
And do you think that's perhaps what the woman has to face? You know, sometimes, you know, you're home, you're the one who has to cook, take care of the family, you barely sleep. You know, I was just talking to a colleague of mine who said she didn't sleep all through the night. Her daughter fell, has a cut on the lip, so she couldn't sleep. She's at work today, really tired and trying to focus. And then, you know, you could be cranky, you know, having to do all of that. And, you know, the husband is sleeping and resting. And that perhaps, you know, if women have more help at home, we could have less of that narrative of, oh, the difficult thing, but because she's having it, she has to do a lot and carry a lot. Yeah,
definitely we need to, that's where we see, we're saying, to help the psychological mind of the people. The men need to help, you need to help your wife in terms like this and all that. You don't need to go to bed. It's just the mindset. She's a human being. She's not, forget the gender base and all that. Just see her as a human being who's tired at that point. Machine. Yeah, not a machine. Needs help, and not, so you need to assist. Even if you are tired, try and assist. If you don't have help in your house, try and be an assistant, you know, a support system for the woman, not just, and that psychological mind that the woman needs to do this, wash dishes, do this and all that, should stop. We should have a free mind. Still, human beings have empathy and be able to support one another.
Absolutely. I'm still staying on the home. So I saw this video, and I really, you can't tell people how to run their homes. It is their home.
Sure.
But, you know, for me, it was just the audacity and the authority and the joy, you know, hearing the man say, no, I wasn't working when I met my wife. She will work, I will collect the money from her. And I would say, kneel down and give me the money. It works for them. But I sort of felt it was a derogatory statement to make. It was an interview. It was a media interview. And, you know, I saw how the woman had that uncomfortable body language. But she's smart. Of course, he's a husband.
Sure.
He works now. But, you know, when they met, he wasn't working. And he was satisfied collecting the money she works every month. Where do you stand in terms of women and finances in the home, and how much you think that a woman should push for? Because again, society says if you're a wife, you have children to take care of them first, and your career and your business, every other thing comes later.
Yeah, there shouldn't be, when we start making laws, principles, 50-50, that's where the problem starts from. That's when issues, when the woman starts doing everything, then the man is not capable at that time to do those things. We start seeing that as issues. When, you know, as a couple, when you come together as one and you have children, there are things you should, you know, you should not, you know, put in place to, you know, affect the marriage or affect your psychology or mindset, or what people are doing. What other people are doing, how they are living their home is not your business. Mind your own home and all that. Be able to accommodate and see things the way they are. You know, sharing finances and all that should be inbuilt, should be natural. Oh, I saw this nice TV. Oh, let me buy it. I'm the wife, right? I'm earning something. Oh, it's not that, oh, he must be the one to buy it, yeah, because he is the husband or he's the man. No, that's when you start limiting yourself. That's why I was saying, you know, break the bias. Let's don't limit ourselves. We can do more. We can, you know, take charge and do things irrespective of who we are as the wife or the and as the husband. We need to start changing our mindset about these things. That's what it keeps affecting and bringing problem and bringing gender wars and marital wars. And
I want to go to, because I heard you earlier where you said you have an organization that deals with people living with disability. Yes. Just before we'll let you go, is there a difference in terms of how women who are living with disability are treated and how men who are living with disability are treated, or is it just a general challenge for everyone?
Yeah, persons with disability, both male and female, are definitely experiencing same issues, discriminations and all that. So the need for us to bridge the gap cannot be overemphasized. So we need everyone to please show this person's love. They're just like every one of us, living life differently. Let's show them all the love and support that they deserve.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for talking to us. CEO, La Mode Magazine, Sandra Odike.
Thank you very much for having me.